we don't want to lose the soul of our relationship for the dollar bills coming in.
Yeah.
And so I think if anything,
I would sell it.
Yeah, Jer would sell it. He would market it.
Congratulations! It's a great show, a great couple of shows.
Thank you so much. Yeah,
Yeah,
we had a lot of fun doing it.
It was really nerve-wracking deciding to do the documentary side of things. We weren't sure about it. We were like, oh, is this something people want?
Yeah.
And then our director and friend, Tom Belding, who put it all together, I think he directed it, he edited it, he did the sound, he did the picture, he when he delivered it to us, we were just like, wow, this is really, even just we say to each other all the time, like, in 20 years, we're going to be able to curl up and watch this together and be like, what a time. Like,
or when we die.
Yeah.
Our daughter's going to have this time capsule of
that took a
this
jump,
time.
babe.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say when we die, we'll be able to watch it. I was like, I didn't know. I didn't know that was an option. Darcy, let me start out here. Like, if I had told you 10 years ago that you'd be on stage with Jeremy, what would you have said?
I absolutely would not have believed you. If you had told me 4 years ago, even when the videos first started popping off, I would have been like, yeah, right. Like, there's no way. It blows me away. Like, we've been together. It'll be 22 years this February, right?
Yep.
22 years.
22. Yeah.
So we will have been together longer than we were apart. And when you're with somebody that long,
For you.
yeah, for you, you're old.
I'm older.
But when you're with somebody for so long, you think you know everything about them. You're just like, well, this is who you are. And then this came about, and I was just, like when Jared did his first show in February 2022.
Never held a microphone before.
Never held a microphone before.
He'd never done anything.
Hold
like
on,
that.
let's catch people up here, because it starts with, you had been doing stand-up for a really long time.
Yeah,
right?
it'll be 20 years this year.
You were doing stand-up, and you had sort of step back from it.
Yeah, I spent a long, I spent a long time, touring for $100 a show.
Yeah.
And after a while, I was like, maybe it's not going to hit. I had success. I had I was the first Crave comedy special in the country. I had a sitcom on CTV for a while, but it just never really hit. And I lost a friend after a long battle with cancer. And one of the things that, you're having those deep conversations with your friend as they're dying, and she just kind of was like, man, like, it was all about this. It was all about who you're with. And so afterwards I was like, I never want to leave Jer and Grace again. Like, I don't want to go and tell jokes in Medicine Hat for $100 when I can just hang out with the people I love. And so I said to Jer, I was like, I want to take a break. I want to do that trip to Europe we've put off for, years and years. And so and then the break, what did we say, 3 months originally? And then it was 6 months, and then it was 9 months. And then I was just like, I'm done.
Jer, how did you feel about when Darcy said, like, hey, I've been kind of hitting the pavement for so long, it's not feeling as fruitful as it should. I think I need to take a break.
I was fully supportive of it. Like, he tried so hard, and like, we were always okay because of my corporate job. We covered all the bills, so we were in a good spot. We were in a good spot for him to be able to do that. And I'm like, we'll find a new passion for you. Like, we had talked about Darcy maybe opening a plant store. Or
yeah, my
doing
grandparents
something
had a
locally.
garden center growing up in Scarborough. And so I was like, I could do that.
Right,
I liked it.
Right.
Yeah. But then when this social media stuff came, it was like, it's a good chance to get him back out on stage.
And the original point was, it was supposed to be a dog or like a facing TikTok channel, right?
Yeah, I had created a page for our puppy Yuma at the time, and I wanted to be able to send family videos, and I was just like, someone on a dog walk had been like, because I was like, I don't know how to edit videos, and they were like, oh, just use TikTok. If you upload 3 or 4 videos, it becomes one, and then you can send them off. And so I started doing that. That was October 2019.
Yeah.
And then
just before the pandemic.
Yeah, and then she went viral after about a month.
Which one of her went viral?
It was after the time change, after the clocks went back. Yuma we joke now that we're pretty sure our dog is autistic because she's very scheduled. She's obsessed with rocks and nothing gets in her way when it comes to her schedule or her rocks. And one of the things was, at the time, every night at 7:30, she would get this yam chew, like a dehydrated yam. And the clocks went back, and at 6:30, she's at the cupboard panting, like, give me my yam chew.
Right.
And I just filmed it, and then I, being me, forget it exists and leave it. And the next day, Jer opened up TikTok, and he was like, Yuma has 100,000 followers?
What's the reaction then?
And then Darcy got super jealous.
20 years, man.
He refused to post on her account again and then created his own. He's like, well, let me try this, and posted a stand-up clip from his old special, and it went instantly viral as well.
But the first comment was, okay, boomer.
Oh.
It was during that stage, and I was like, what have I done? But then I just was like, don't care about we had a long time rule. We don't read internet comments before TikTok. I was like,
good luck.
Yeah. And so then
I tell people I don't read internet comments.
Oh,
too.
I know you do.
I know. I tell people.
Well,
I don't
now
do it.
we spend an hour every day responding to comments because it's part of the community. You know, I think people get a kick out of hearing from us.
So when did you decide to make your marriage a part of the TikTok?
We never really decided, did we?
It just kind of happened.
Yeah.
Like he would film me getting ready for work, and I'd roll my eyes, or I'd be like, no, Darcy, because I'd never wanted to be in front of the camera. That was never anything in my life. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, wasn't it when you went to leave for work and your car wasn't there?
Yeah,
because I'd left it at the grocery store, and so I would like to say, started it all.
It's true, yeah. I did a pop quiz asking him where the car was, because it was something we'd always kind of done
with each other.
Yeah, made fun of each other, roasted each other. Darcy always very forgetful, not forgetful, but
flighty.
I
can say it. You can't.
Darcy, what was it like to have this when those videos start going viral of the marriage, and you guys start to become like, also the videos are just really funny, but there's no correlation between things that are funny and a lot of people getting it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You can be really, really funny and still no one.
Tell that to the first 18 years of my career.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. What was it like to finally start getting this? I guess is it validation? You had decided you didn't need it, but what was it like when it started to come in?
I think, and I don't want to repeat too much of us maybe we talk about it in the doc. I don't even remember. But I think the difference was I really needed that validation for so long that when I had stopped, it freed me to not have, you said it in the doc about, you can see it when you watch it. My voice was different on stage. Over the years, there was this weird.
You had a persona, you put up a wall to protect yourself from the audience almost. Yeah. And now the difference is Darcy lets the audience in.
Yeah, and I think that was the missing key. For so long I was giving what I thought and also it's tough as a queer person in 2005, 2006, it feels like yesterday, but it was a different time. And when you're touring to these small towns and you're coming out night after night, it's terrifying. And so you do have this, I'm very lucky that I'm a mask presenting queer person where I can get away with just being on stage and make some jokes and stuff.
You used to be.
Yeah, now I'm a lot gayer. As I wear a coat that looks like my grandmother's couch.
But you didn't need it, and that freed you to get it. It freed you to accept it.
I think, I had tried making, I wanted to make a sitcom in Canada for so long that the networks always said they didn't think there was an appetite for what I wanted to make. And so part of me did it out of spite, where I was like, I'm going to, I'm a huge fan of what Jared created with Letterkenny. And I remember I was filming Spun Out at CTV at the time he was going viral on YouTube with Letterkenny. And I remember seeing the executives at CTV getting excited about that. And I thought, well, what if I could prove the concept online with these little fly on the wall? And then COVID also helped because people were just so starved for joy.
you were sort of at a low. You had sort of like stepped away from your job as a comedian. You had sort of decided you had learned what was actually important, and you had decided to sort of follow that path. Jer has a really interesting story in that you had tell people about this. You had a high-powered. In my mind, there's a private jet and you're Richard Branson. In my mind, you're Richard Branson, and you're secretly Richard Branson, and you stepped away from that in order to go down this path. Talk to us a little bit about that.
I think we'd had the conversations a few times about it. Well, way back when Darcy was on the sitcom, he always wanted to be able to give me, like, take me to stop working, and he would do all the heavy lifting, I guess, of that. But then...
If only I knew how miserable I'd be.
But I was like, okay, we're in Canada. It's Canada TV.
Yeah.
Let's give it a few seasons. And then it got canceled, so I was right. So when this came around, it felt different. And I was getting older. And I'm like, if I don't take this leap now, I'm not going to do it.
You did want to step away. Hey, you did sort of want to leave the corporate world a little bit.
I wasn't happy there. It was like I was good at my job, but I wasn't passionate about it.
What was the term? Golden.
Yeah, I felt like I had golden handcuffs.
The golden handcuffs, yeah.
Right?
That's the thing.
And I'm like, if I don't do this in my 40s, I'm not leaving. Once I get to my 50s, I'm not leaving that, retirement, we're fine for life kind of thing. And I knew if we fall flat on our face, I'm young enough to still go and get another job or career or whatever you want to say. And Darcy wanted to give me a year. And I'm like, okay, we'll do this. But then we had that conversation, and then I was like, we both backed off. No, maybe not. And we waited 6 more months before doing it.
I had just told them, I was like, listen, if it's me that you need permission from, you've got, like, you decide. But, like, if you get mad at work one day and want to say, I quit, I'm out, I love it, film it, we could use the content. And then he came home one day and he was early. And I could tell, like, if there's a video of it. We both filmed each other. And it was one of those things where I was just like, oh, this is going to ruin everything. And it did.
And truly, things have never been truly joyful ever since. I understand, yeah.
I used to have 80 hours a week to myself.
Yeah, now it's purely transactional.
But originally, my plan was to get Darcy back on stage, get him on tour. We had been talking with our friend Zoe, and she said there was something there. And I was planning, get Darcy back on stage. I'll shadow the tour manager behind the scenes role and learn that and take that in-house. But then
always trying to save money. Always
trying to save a couple of bucks.
Yeah.
But then you end up on stage. You end up performing in what has to be, I'm guessing, an unlikely path for what you consider for yourself.
Yeah. And then we went out and did that first show, and I can't tell you anything about it because I blacked out, I think, but we got through it. I've seen the footage. It wasn't great.
Even the special, it's not great. Yeah. That's what's beautiful about
but still no refund.
There was a point during the tour, though, where Jer was actually getting too good. Where I said to him, I was like, you have to pull back a bit because every night the audience is seeing you for the first time on stage, and you're ruining the magic if you're good. So I would mess the order up. I would change. Every night I had to, like, do something to make sure he was not good at performing, because it's what I think it was part of the magic of it.
I wonder how it is for you, because the thing about TikTok success is that oftentimes it's sort of invisible to the people who are creating the content. You know, the millions of people who are. I mean, I was looking earlier today. Some of your videos have like 8.6 million. 4.5 million. It's an unfathomable number of people to think about. But there's in the live show, you do this thing where you ask everybody who has ADHD or neurodivergence to stand up. And I think it's a really powerful moment for everyone to look around and see how many of us there are. But I actually wonder, is that meaningful for you because you just get to see an actual physical manifestation of the people you're reaching with these videos?
For sure. It was the hardest thing every night to not cry every time.
Tell me.
Just because, we accidentally started talking about my mental health through the videos, because it just, in the comment section, talk about not reading it. We read them, we try to read them because, we're very grateful for how much this audience has changed our lives, and we want the community to exist and stuff. And we started, like Jer would always say, these pop quiz for my stoner husband, and then the audience would be like, well, this is more about ADHD. And we were very aware that I had ADHD, but we hadn't really talked about it. And Jer was the one that was like, I think maybe we should start incorporating it more to see if it resonates. And I think for the years we were doing it before online, it was like, oh great, people are connecting. But then seeing it at the meet and greets before the show, and hearing people's stories about how they got diagnosed from seeing similarities in our videos to something I've done. But then the first show when they stood up in Vancouver, I want to say it was 900 out of 1,000 stood up. And I remember thinking, oh my God, do not chin quiver. If your chin starts quivering, you're going to be a mess.
Why? What were you feeling?
I felt home. I just was we're nerds. We're geeks. Jer and I love reality TV. We like playing board games. We're just,
video games.
We've never fit in. I always say I was too fat and bald for the gay community. I was too gay for the comedy community. I was too weird for education, for school. And then all of a sudden, we're in this room with a bunch of geeky gay nerds that have ADHD, and we were celebrating it. It was, for the first time in my life, it wasn't something that had this shame label to it. It was like, yeah, you can be gay. Yeah, you can be neurodivergent, and there's no problem with it. And so
I think we're in a time where you get to celebrate your differences now.
Yeah.
Where,
Yeah, and
before it was all you tried to hide what made you stand out from
mask.
other people.
But I also think you model that for your audience. I wanted to ask you about one of the other reasons we were looking at, sort of all the reasons that your fans on TikTok say they connect with you is, and one thing that keeps on coming up over and over again is because you're an example of a healthy, happy, queer relationship, and so people are looking for your advice on parenting, on navigating conflict, on having a happy relationship. So Jeremy, I guess, who modeled that for you?
For me, I didn't really have that in my life. I think maybe it's, I don't even know where to go with it.
You didn't have that in your life?
No, it wasn't like my mom. I've had a stepdad, but my mom hasn't been with the same person the whole time.
Right.
And maybe that is the reason. I saw that she was never settled. And in my mind, I know myself. I'm very loyal. I'm very...
Can I interject for a second? Because he won't. Jer is a father first, a husband second, and a friend third. And I think for Jer, making sure that Grace saw a future, because we're the only long-term relationship Grace knows really that's still together. Everybody in, all of her friends' parents are divorced. And so I think for your motivation has always been, how can I create the best world for our daughter? And he will never admit that, but I know where I am on the hierarchy in Jer's world. I will always be after Grace. And he also knows.
I know that I'm after our dog.
Yeah. I am a dog parent first and a gay husband second. And then Grace is third or fourth.
I'm maybe fifth or sixth.
Yeah, you do fall down the list.
Depending on the day. Jared, but tell me what that's like for you to see people sort of hold you guys up as an example of a way to have, not without challenges, not without arguments, but a sustainable, good, healthy relationship.
I do actually credit our comment section to reigniting our love.
Really?
We got to see our love through other people's eyes just by their comments on our things, and it made us step back and look at each other in a different way as well.
Yeah,
because you get in these routines, your day to day, everything. You don't always take the time to appreciate what you have, kind of thing.
So when people are able to point that out to you, hey, this to you is your life with Darcy. It's just, it's just life.
Yeah.
But when people are pointing it out to you, like, actually what you have is very special, it allows you to realize it a little bit more.
That's true. Yeah.
I think one of the things with our new tour, like we called it Average at Best, and it's, kind of a joke in marketing, but it's also because the show is about how much we have realized over the years how great it is to just be average. Like we spend so much time, especially social media can be so toxic with the comparison factor, with the FOMO, with the jealousy of other people's lives, and that Jer and I, when we stripped ourselves of the success or the dreams of what we thought we wanted before TikTok and social media and stuff, we realized how happy we were just living a normal existence. Like living a suburban life is actually really great.
But you're not really doing that anymore. I mean, one of the things you're talking about in these works that we're talking about today, one of the things that comes up is, and only talk about this as much as you want to, but there was, you had a stalker for a little while.
Yeah.
Can you talk as much as you want to? Can you talk about that?
Got to a point where we were like, it's better if we kind of relocate. We also didn't realize, hey, if you film every inch of your house during COVID and put it out for, I think we're over 1 billion views now on TikTok, and like people could map out every part of it.
How scary!
It's terrifying, and we just our new property we're very protective of, and we have sections of the house that are never allowed to film. Yeah. Even friends aren't allowed to take pictures because we're like, hey, we have to be realistic here.
Wow. Well, and that sort of leads me to and I don't want this to be the bummer portion of the conversation, but I think about it a lot, which is I spend a lot of time thinking about, just in my own life, like I often talk about this with my therapist, that I perform someone who has the same name as me. Like I want to be as authentic as I can. I want to be as like that's all I want to be, But still,
that's a really great way to describe it.
I still am professionally someone who has the same name as me.
Yeah.
And it's a very strange thing. When your marriage is the thing that you're modeling, when the marriage is the thing that you're offering to your audience, how do you delineate between parts of your marriage that you want to offer to everybody and maybe some parts that you want to keep for yourself?
Boundaries.
We had it's made us communicate better and more, just because we're like, if we film something, we have a strict rule, like you cannot, if someone says nixes it, there's no questions asked.
Yeah.
Right.
We're not,
like if Jer films something and I say no, it's not no, but why?
There's no discussion.
It's my partner doesn't want this, then that's it. We've had to really find, because you're right, like it's the we don't want to lose the soul of our relationship for the dollar bills coming in.
Yeah.
And so I think if anything,
I would sell it.
Yeah, Jer would sell it. He would market it.
How do you do that? How do you do that?
Well, I think like one of the things I think one of the coolest things that we've instituted is the morning check-in, where it's just we literally go, "How are you today?" And it's like, we're busy. We're all so busy that we don't actually, and there'll be days where it's like, I'm not good. And it's like, okay, phone's away. Like, we're not gonna, like, even if we have to, there's no deadlines in our world that are truly life or death. So it's like, yeah, I can wait. And so I think that's a really important thing. And it's also just a nice way to be like, no, really stop. How are you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, did you sleep okay? Are you hydrated?
Our relationship is a real relationship outside of what we're presenting.
We say all the time, like, if it ever got to the point where this isn't working, everything gets deleted. That's the strong rule. Like, we'll walk from this
Cancel
before
ourselves.
we will. Oh my God, I'm dying to get canceled. I would love 6 months off.
Well, we can make it happen right now if you want. You just, we don't have access to your internet search history now.
Yeah, but I'll give it to you.
But we can get it. I want to close off this way, and I'll ask each of you. Darcy, in the recent documentary, you say seeing our relationship through other people's eyes makes you realize how special it is. What have fans made you see that you didn't see before?
Like Jer even touched on it earlier, what was normal to us made us realize with reaction that maybe it was not as, maybe other people don't have the fun that we actually have. Like, we always joke, but like when I asked Jer to marry me, like No, it wasn't the marry me. Sorry. Before we said I love you, it was you're fun. Like, oh my God, you're so fun. Like we just have a good time.
Yeah.
Nothing is better than, we call it, let's have a Sunday. That's our favorite thing in the world. And it doesn't matter what day of the week it is. It's when we decide to make dinner at 4 p.m. and just go and curl up and play video games and binge watch Survivor or The Traitors or something. And it's just the two of us and no phones and the dog's curled up at our feet and we're eating nachos and just like, and it's just, it solidified what I always knew was that, yeah, I've got the love of my life here, but like seeing it through other people's eyes and realizing, oh, other people might not be as lucky as us. And that's cool to be kind of reaffirmed. Is that the word?
Sure.
What do you see? What do you see through the eyes of your fans?
I think it's funny when
dollar bills. That's what he
Cold
sees.
hard cash.
Yeah.
What's the line at the beginning of the special? Like, we have your money now.
Yeah.
We have your money now.
I think it's my favorite comments are the ones who are like, I want to be your neighbor, or I just want to hang out with them. I'm like, to us, we're like, we're boring.
Yeah.
Like, why would if they only knew how boring we are? We're just binging TV like everybody.
We're just lucky that we have a good rapport.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
You want to go with that?
Just like that. That's the perfect rapport.
I've never heard such silence after the sentence, I'm lucky we have good rapport.
We are on what, hour 9?
I've never heard anyone say, I'm so lucky we have such a good rapport.
Well, he never lets me get a word in. So.
I'll tell you this: it is very clear the love you have for one another, and what you're able to offer us through the glimpses that you give us is so rewarding, and it is so funny. And the one where you bring home my favorite video of yours, I was saying it to the end, is the one where you went grocery shopping, and
With the basket.
and Jeremy says, what did you steal?
Yeah.
And you're so offended.
I'm horrified by this because I was raised by a cop.
Yeah.
You know, I would never steal. How dare you?
And then it's very clear that you stole the basket.
Yeah, I stole the basket and I still got it.
Yeah,
even
the
though,
tea is that we still have it.
Yeah, we actually, not gonna lie, we now have 2 because I did do it again, but I wouldn't talk about the he filmed it, and I was like, we can't do it again. That's hacky.
You were wondering how you were going to get canceled?
Yeah, that's
There it is.
Well,
There it
hey,
is.
guess what, BC? You got rid of plastic bags. I had to improvise. I took a plastic basket.
Well, you'll be hearing from the Toronto Star very soon, so enjoy the time off.
I wish they'd cover me.
Beautiful to meet you guys. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
And we're such big fans of your work here. Congratulations on
We're
both
big
specials.
fans of yours.
We're big fans of yours, and thank you for celebrating the arts because it's under attack all the time, and I think what you do here is really important.
Thank you very much. It's very kind of you to say. I'm not even going to say anything self-deprecating.